across the line. That's no goal. And so they keep playing, and Buffalo wins. So in that obviously you can imagine San Jose's livid because they had won the game at that point, and to make matters worse, they lose to Buffalo. And it's San Jose, who's like the best team in the league pretty much. So in that situation, and in the situation you were referring to with the penalty shot, the coach should be allowed, if it's very clear that it was a bad call by the ref, pull up the white towel, challenge, I'm challenging this. They look at the replay, and in that one instance, the replay is allowed to override the ref's decision, which obviously it can't do now, but the ref has the final say over the replay. But the replay is allowed to override the ref's decision with that single challenge by the coach. If the coach gets it wrong, he might get a small penalty, like having to take the face off in his zone or something like that. But every other sport in the world has a challenge mode. Even baseball has one, I think, so which is never really used. But even, like every sport has one of sorts.
Especially with the high-definition cameras and all the technology that we have available to us today. We got to, take advantage of that, put it to use. The game evolves in so many other ways, but they refuse to let it evolve in this one way for some reason. This could have been done years ago and should have been, and the fact that we're still talking about it is ludicrous.
Yeah, I know. It's strange that...
Because human error happens all over the place. We have computers now with like 16 different HD camera angles to tell us that the ref is wrong, and we still got to go with the schmuck on the ice.
Maybe the refs should just be robots. Maybe we should just build robots that ref the games. Skynet. Terminator.
Breaking up fights would be so much easier. Just, all right, you're done. Ooh, into the crowd.
Throws them into like the ninth row stands.
Yeah, right?
You will not do that again.
So, and then the last thing I was going to do for leaving it off on a happy note, you have yet to have a chance to talk about Pavel Bure.
Oh! Why are we over an hour? God damn it. Okay. Yeah.
We could save it if you want, but
no,
I feel like
we don't have
give
to
your favorite player a little bit of love.
My all-time favorite player. I mean, we've talked about it in previous shows and last year. I'm sure I've brought it up how I thought it ridiculous that Nazem got his jersey retired. I was one of the Canucks fans. That was a very polarizing issue in Vancouver. A lot of Canucks fans like myself didn't feel that he should have gotten his jersey retired. Statistically he was our leader for a while, but he just wasn't over a long-term period of time consistent enough. But because the Canucks and the Bure residents, the Bure name, because the Canucks and Bure didn't really get along based on how he left the city, which was in a very poor fashion, holding out and demanding a trade, the Canucks and Bure, for lack of a better term, just didn't really like each other. So in the 40th season for the Canucks, which was a couple years ago, it came down up on high where, okay guys, 40th season anniversary, we don't really have a deep talent pool to pick from. We're not the Canadians. We got to retire someone. Who do we retire? Well, the obvious answer is Pavel Bure. He is unquestionably the greatest Canuck of all time in terms of pure skill. Yeah, you would argue the Sedins, once they retire, might take the mantle, but for now, because they're still playing, Bure is the best Canuck ever, and I'm including Linden in that mix. Talent-wise, there was nobody like Bure, one of the most explosive players of all time, multiple 50-goal seasons, like 5 50-goal seasons, 2 60-goal seasons. The guy was dynamite. The only reason he didn't get more points than he did is because he retired at the age of 31 due to a knee injury. So, or 32 possibly. But Pavel Bure, without a doubt, the greatest Canuck of all time, and how we retire Marcus Nazem's jersey over Pavel Bure's, in my eyes, was just insane. I understood the reasoning behind it because, as I said, the Canucks and Bure weren't getting along. But
however, I just wanted to interject with a small note there. If Patrick Waugh can get retired in Montreal, then any player could be retired anywhere.
Oh, it was ridiculous that they weren't able to do it. I totally agree with you. It was stupid. But nevertheless, they did finally manage to patch things up last year. So what happened is finally, last would have been Saturday, when we absolutely decimated the Maple Leafs 4-0.
Yay! I don't cheer for Vancouver often, so yay!
Yeah, just absolutely. I'm talking like we were in their zone for about probably 50 minutes of that game. Bure gets his jersey retired in a very touching and emotional ceremony. Pavel Bure's jersey finally gets raised to the rafters where it belongs. He was my all-time favorite player. Many guys of my age group, my generation, grew up absolutely worshiping Pavel Bure. My earliest memory as a Canucks fan or as a hockey fan is being 6 years old and watching the first
Calgary Flames goal.
The first game played by Pavel Bure, which would have been a couple years prior to that. I remember vividly watching Pavel Bure's first game as a Canuck, first broadcast game, because the game against the Jets wasn't actually on the air, or wasn't on TV, I should say. But I remember vividly watching Pavel Bure's first game as a Canuck on the air as a 6 or 7 year old, and even then, as a kid, knowing that this was an incredibly special player that we were watching, and a kind of player that just doesn't enter the NHL very often. There hasn't been anyone quite like him since he retired. You make, comparisons to Ovechkin and stuff. There have been other great goal scorers, but nobody like Bure. Bure was and is considered to be probably top 5 all-time pure goal scorers in the NHL. Like in terms of pure skill, the guy could do things at 100 miles per hour that most guys couldn't do at 50. Like he was just incredible. Just all you got to do, if you don't believe me, just YouTube Pavel Bure top 10 on TSN. Like there's 3 different occasions where he literally splits the D, goes through 3 other guys, and then dekes out the goalie and scores.
And at least 3 other occasions where he just like spends 30 to 45 seconds in the opposing zone waiting for his moment.
Yeah. Like he was
like a freaking shark.
An incredible talent, one the NHL has never really seen, and he gets into the Hall of Fame, which is amazing. He's the first Canuck ever to get into the Hall of Fame, and obviously, Cam Neely, Larionov, Matt Sundin, other guys that have been Canucks, Mark Messier, but Messier was never a Canuck. That was a dream. That never actually happened. There have been other guys that have been Canucks that have been Hall of Fame players, but Pavel Bure, predominantly known, he'll always be known as a Canuck over a Panther or a Ranger. Bure is a Canuck. He'll always be remembered as one. He was the first true Canuck to be entered into the Hall of Fame. So all it took was a Hall of Fame entry for the Canucks to finally be like, well...
yeah, maybe we should retire.
Yeah, our first ever Hall of Fame entry, I guess it's finally time to retire this guy's jersey. It's insane it took this long, but it finally happened. It was awesome to see. A very touching experience. It was great. I can't be happier for him. He was such an incredible talent. And
so when do we get to see the Canucks retire Mark Messier?
You gotta stop talking right now, boy. That never happened.
Well, I was going to say, I was just thinking, because I'm pretty sure Gretzky's number is hanging in the rafters in St. Louis, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, it is Wayne Gretzky. Well, yeah, but Wayne Gretzky...
I mean, his number is league-wide retired, but that doesn't mean you hang it in the rafters. I'm pretty sure St. Louis hung it in the rafters.
Well, it's Wayne Gretzky.
Is this what we're supposed to do?
No, but you know what? Wayne Gretzky is the only player to ever have his number retired league-wide, though. That's why they did that. No other player has ever had
I still disagree with.
It's Wayne Gretzky.
No, I get it.
There will never be another 99, nor should there ever be.
Yeah, but do you know that there won't be anyone as great? What we're like.
Well, statistically, no, there won't be. I don't think Wayne Gretzky has more assists than the second most player has points. Like,
yeah,
there will. But, I mean, statistically, there will never be anyone that dominant again. I don't think, anyways.
This is all over the place, but you have to realize how much the game is going to change in the next 50 to 70 years or 100 years. So on and so forth.
There may be there may someday be a talent that exceeds Gretzky's, but as it stands right now, greatest player of all time without a doubt. So I mean, you gotta give him that respect. But
even when you talk about the top 10, it's really the top 11 because no one's catching it. Like it's
it's impossible. Even Connor McDavid, not yet next year's top overall draft pick, but the year after, 2015, I guess. If you don't know who Connor McDavid is, he's the first player to get drafted that they're saying is actually going to exceed Crosby in talent.
Do you know how many individual records Gretzky has?
Most of them.
It's something like 65 or something.
Yeah, he's got a lot of them. But check out Connor McDavid if you guys can. If you don't know who this kid is, you will. He's breaking records left, right, and center, even a bunch of Crosby's. As amazing as Crosby is, they're projecting McDavid is going to be the next one. Like, he's going to exceed Crosby in skill level, and he's going to be as close as we've ever gotten to a Gretzky. Obviously, statistically, he won't get there, but Connor McDavid is going to be a very special player, so make sure you pay attention to him, because in a couple of years, he's going to take the NHL by storm in a way that even Sidney Crosby never did. So,
when did Gretzky retire, too? He was a little bit early on now, right? Like 36 or 37?
No, he was, I think he was 39, almost 40. He retired in 1999.
Didn't he start in 81? You know what?
No, he started in like 70.
Because he was in the World Hockey League.
Yeah, he started in like 78 or something like that.
Which is funny because I don't even think those stats count. His stats would even be higher.
Well, yeah, remember Gretzky was never drafted. Gretzky was never drafted.
Because he's in the WHL for 3 or 4 years.
WHA, yeah.
HA, right, with Gordie Howe and stuff like that.
Yeah, a bunch of those teams came over, like the Nordiques and the Jets.
Yeah, so actually, come to think of it, he probably has a couple hundred points more than what the record says.
Oh, you know what? And I totally forgot to mention I was going to talk about the Canucks, but obviously we're going a bit long now. We're almost
like an hour and a half now or something?
Yeah, almost a minute 10, but whatever, who cares? Well, I was just going to quickly mention, because I hated it so much, not to end on a bad note, but Jiff, actually, it's kind of hilarious. You don't want to ever see a guy get injured, but in this situation, you kind of do. Jeffrey Lupul leaves his feet and pretends to be in the WWF for a second and has a flying elbow aimed square at Henrik Sedin's head. I'm talking he was off the ice, elbow to face. He was aiming to injure, and if that had connected Oh my God, Sedin could have been out for the year. Like, that was a very close to devastating hit, I should say. What happens is,
I don't want to see a player get injured.
This is hilarious.
People to be suspended and Sedin to be out, that would have been awesome. But oh well.
This is karma. This is karma, man. This is karma. Henrik ducks at the last second. He says after the game, like, yeah, I saw it coming to the last second. I was able to get out of the way. Well, Joffrey Lupul, he elbows Nazem Kadri in the face and nails him to the ice. Google this image if you can. Obviously, you never want to see a guy get injured, but this is karma. Guy tries to injure another guy, misses that guy, ends up injuring his own teammate. It's
a very talented teammate.
Who's also in my hockey pool, which I wasn't too thrilled about. Yeah. But nevertheless, it is slightly hysterical, as terrible as that sounds, because, well, that's what you get for trying to end the career of one of the best players in the league. Well, you just so happen to miss him and injure your own guy in a very comical fashion, which sort of summed up how the Leafs played against the Canucks that night, because we just absolutely decimated them. It was a great game to watch. But yeah, so forget about the Emery stuff. The NHL is going to move past that. Let's just remember the Pavel Bure Jersey retirement and the potential for robotic referees in the future. I think that's a good note to end it on. So yeah, that was awesome, man. It was good talking to you as always. My name is Andy Cole.
My name is Justin Boniface. Thanks for listening, folks.
Have a good night.